Why does the whole world depend on one country's money? Why do countries need US dollars even when they are not trading with America? Some countries need dollars just to buy oil. This is not an accident. It all started with a decision and a few powerful agreements that changed the world forever. Let's find out. Today, the US dollar is everywhere. Around 60% of the world's foreign exchange reserves are held in US dollars. About 80 to 90% of global trade is done using the dollar. Even when two countries trade with each other, they often still use dollars as the middle currency. If a country has economic crisis, people don't trust their own money. They run to dollars. They try to protect their savings before it's too late. It feels normal, almost permanent, but it's not. Because in history, no currency stays on top forever. So the question is, how did the dollar become number one? To understand this, we go back in time. Before the dollar ruled the world, gold ruled the world. Countries measured their wealth in gold, and their money followed something called the gold standard. This system connected currencies directly to gold. It worked for some time, but as global trade grew bigger, it became slow and difficult to manage. The world needed something new, and then something big happened. In 1944, during World War II, leaders from 44 countries met in the United States. This meeting was called the Bretton Woods Agreement.
Zhang Shi-kung, one of China's representatives, with Secretary and Mrs. Henry Morgenthau. United States Treasury Secretary Morgenthau heads the American delegation. On the opening day, in his role of acting conference president, he addresses the meeting. To be discussed are plans for the stabilization of world currencies. All agreements must be ratified by the governing bodies of the nations involved before becoming effective.
It changed the global economy. Instead of every country using gold, they agreed to link their currencies to one main currency, the US dollar. And the dollar was backed by gold. This system became known as the Bretton Woods system. But why the dollar? Because after the war, the United States was the strongest economy. It held around 70% of the world's gold at that time. And its industries were growing fast, so the world trusted the dollar, and slowly, and global trade started running on it. But then, in 1971, something unexpected happened. The United States ended the direct connection between the dollar and gold.
I have directed Secretary Connally to suspend temporarily the convertibility of the dollar into gold or other reserve assets, except in amounts and conditions determined to be in the interest of monetary stability and in the best interest of the United States.
This event is known as a Nixon shock. Now the dollar was no longer backed by gold. Many people thought the system would collapse, but it did not. In fact, the dollar became even stronger. Why? Because of another powerful agreement. In the 1970s, the United States made a deal with Saudi Arabia. This became part of what we call the petrodollar system. The agreement was simple but powerful. Saudi Arabia would sell its oil only in US dollars, and in return, the United States would provide protection and support. Soon other members of OPEC followed the same system. Now think about it. Oil is the most important resource in the world, and about 80 to 90% of global oil trade is priced in US dollars. So every country that needs oil must first get dollars, not because they want to, but because they have no choice. This system quietly connected the entire global economy to the US dollar and made it even stronger. And here's another interesting fact. The United States is one of the only countries that can print the world's most important currency. US dollars are mainly printed by the Bureau of Engraving and Printing in cities like Washington, D.C. and Fort Worth, Texas. At the same time, most money today is digital, created through banks and financial system. In total, there are trillions of dollars in circulation, and the supply keeps growing every year, depending on the economy. But here's something most people don't realize. The dollar is not the first currency to rule the world. Before it, the British pound dominated global trade during the time of the British Empire. And before that, other empires controlled trade with their own money. Each time, the pattern was the same. The strongest country had the strongest currency. So the world did not choose the dollar because it was perfect. It chose it because of power, economic power, political power, and global influence. And also because of systems like Bretton Woods, the Nixon shock, and the petrodollar system that make it very hard to replace. So here's the truth. The world does not use dollar because it has to. It uses it because people and countries believe the system behind the dollar is stable and reliable. But history teaches us something important. No system lasts forever. And that brings us to one final question. If global power changes in the future, will the world still use the dollar? Or will a new currency take its place? If you have liked the video and want more interesting topics like this, make sure to hit the subscribe button and do comment your opinion in the comment section. Thank you for watching.